The trains reflect the city, and the city is turning safe. Isn't that what's happening all over the world? So they move from their mundane life and they come to the cities and they think that they're bringing something here, when before it was only the unique people that came. Now the average person is coming here and it makes it very corny. So the subway is the same way, I mean, because I remember when New York used to be happening. But now they've killed the streets and everything is an institution. Violent crime is down, but crimes against humanity are up. People used to be able to enjoy themselves more. Now, it's very white. Mundane. Like Madonna said, New York goes to soul. Everyone is afraid to be rejected. The private industries control it, and then they really control the people. And when everyone is forced through economics to act in a certain way just to eat and just to live, it makes it very mundane. But then they tell you to be free and to be different. People want to use their resources to play God. They want to we don't like that guy because he doesn't like what I like. But isn't that what freedom is?
Every one of these people has as much going on in their life as I have going on in mine. So just like an amazing volume of story that I'm walking past as I walk out of the subway, you know what I mean? So sometimes I speculate, oh, what's going on with this person, what's going on with that person, but really it's not that. It's just a feeling of overwhelmed by how much personal history is happening right here, and I don't know what it is, but it's going on, right? You know what I mean?
Rather than being on the bus, being on the subway means you think differently. You know, going through dark tunnels is more of an experience. When you're coming out on the other end, it's more like a transition, I suppose. It doesn't seem real sometimes. It's sort of not an escape, but it's like this unavailable... It's always an excuse, like I had to walk in the woods to my grandma's house. Like, who knows what happened in the woods?
It's nice to have a few minutes where you can be by yourself. You know, everybody's always connected. And then you come down here and you're off for the entire time you're down here. For me, it's a relief because I don't have to feel pressure about answering emails or messages because I just can't. It feels like coming back to the easier times.
If you take the trains, all you hear are announcements saying, don't give money to poor people, watch what you have, be alert at all times. And it's over and over again, and it's like constant messages of distrust. So I thought, it's an incredible message that they broadcast at us every day.
People get on the subway, they put on their subway face, you know? It's kind of like you become a package on the subway. It's taking you somewhere.
And I actually had a strange thought the other day. I was watching the people here in New York and it felt so great because when I was in the subway in Tokyo, everyone was Japanese, and here, everyone is different. And this is really great. Sometimes it feels to me like New York doesn't really belong to anyone.
I think that space disappears because you have a different type of experience, because there is no connection to the upper world and all the visual markers are missing, so you don't understand distance anymore. So basically the idea of position is fading away. Space and time start to change because we don't get the measurement of the city. So your experience is just depending on the amount of time in your watch. And basically you're just waiting.
You don't have to think about anything real in the subway. But it's fascinating that like the stop here, I have no idea where the stop is. It doesn't even make sense. I've been at the stop before and I've been at the stop after, but I don't know where this is, and I'll never know. I think a lot of people never visualize the stop in between their route.
I don't like to read anywhere else but the subway. The humming of the train tracks, the people talking, it doesn't bother me at all. In fact, the silence of a library bothers me. I won't read anything if I'm not on the subway. I've even studied on the train. I've taken long rides just to study, because it's too hard for me to study at home.
It's my own time in the subway. Actually, sometimes when I walk by people, I try not to look at them.
It was during the winter, so it was cold outside, and this man, he was getting off the train, and he dropped one of his gloves in the train. Suddenly he stopped and turned around to see where his second glove was. He saw it in the train, and all of a sudden, the door was closing. Right at this second, he took his other glove off and threw it inside. It struck me, because I was not sure what was going on, and it took me a while to realize how great this was, because one glove makes no sense for anybody.
You get to know the system, meaning you get to know the stations. You start to know exactly where you have to stand to get in the subway. You know where the doors are, you know where people get up because they have to get to another subway, so that's when you get a seat. So it becomes a sort of a living system, a living organism, especially that it does not stop. You know, it's 24 hours.
What time is that? Showtime. Showtime, folks. We go to Boogie Monster Dance. Gonna be entertainment. What time is that? Showtime. Here we go. Folks, we have no music, but we have a great show. So if you like what you see at the end of the show, please show your love. What? Wait. Watch out. Break. Watch it, folks. It gets better. That was just a warm-up. Break. Watch it, folks. Break. Yep. Break. Don't blink, folks. Thank you, folks. That's our show. Folks, if you like the show, please show your love.
There's always something messed up about the train, so you always have a good reason to talk about something. Oh, and the train's late again, and we've been sitting here. So we started talking, and we talked from one thing into the other, and he told me what he's doing, and I told him what I'm doing, and I missed 3 stops, and then he missed the next 3 stops where he should get off just to ride for a little while, and then we decided to skip our days and get off on the same stop and have dinner, and we did. And then it went on. I found a boyfriend in the subway.
There's a lot of people that sit home and see it, man. It's probably a good 50,000. Might be more than that. You just don't. A lot of people don't tell you that.
New York, they come from all over to New York.
Right, yeah, they come because a lot of people come here from all over the United States, come to New York to get, because here they get sponsored. They get money for starting up organizations for feeding the homeless. Homelessness is a big Wall Street business. It's a big boy business. So they not trying to solve it, they're trying to create it.
Out of a gray sky came a bright blue bird. He sat upon my windowsill, and for an instant, no more than a ray of sun in the whirl of time, we stared at one another. He then left his blue wings and gently returned to the gray. I combed my hair. I brushed my teeth. I dressed. I then had my morning lemon and went off to work. And when the gray had gone to yellow, and from yellow to a soft, mellow brown, I gathered my things and rushed home. I wanted to see if he had come again at evening time. Why? I could not really say. Perhaps this is what loneliness can come to. To approach a day requires faith, enough thought or feeling to stay on. Perhaps it can be viewed as the work of a mightier force, God, or something faithful. But whatever we say, to be here in this dangerous life requires faith.
LA is a car culture, but underground was a bus culture when I was coming up.
For me, the train really inspires a lot of my music.
Okay.
I feel like, because just like the sounds, I love the sounds of the train.
You can meditate.
And I realize that when I go home and I make music, I feel like a lot of my inspiration comes from this. So many things come to mind. I usually have on my iPod, so I'm usually already listening to music and just thinking and just people watching,
Definitely. All the Blue Star are out that way. They would footsteps, train tracks, working on the railroad. You know, all of that stuff came from that, and it's inspired.
I was like, man, if I buy a car, I think that like my music would definitely change. And then like you get to like interact with so many different people. Like I feel like
and vibrations and
to
stuff.
get like a really like genuine like feel like any city, you have to get on the public transportation.
And see what the people look like.
Yeah, it's a good like, you know, way to like see what you're dealing with.
You get to talk to people.
Okay.
I wish there were no cars.
Okay.
And we can talk to people.
You got all these empty seats, right? And you're sitting there. Of all the seats empty, that one particular person has to sit next to you. At least you're able to talk to me about something worth talking, just to fucking start babbling and babbling and babbling. It's like, whoa, of all these seats, dude, why you pick next to me? Why you gotta sit next to me, dude? Then I get up and I get to sit somewhere else, and it's like, I could just feel that person just looking at me like, why did he do that?
You know what, homeless people, I love homeless people.
Yeah.
Homeless people, get this on camera, are angels.
So they're not really homeless, they're angels.
They're homeless. They have a home, but it's less. They have to find it somewhere.
But you said either they're homeless or they're angels.
No, they are angels.
So they're not homeless.
They are homeless.
So they're not angels.
Yeah, after the wife left me,
you
know, and took the kids, ran off with her auntie, abducted my kids illegally, left me for broke, ruined my life. My wife walked off and then started making faces. He said, that's okay, I don't want your case now.
Yeah.
Cost me a multi-million lawsuit, cost me 2 churches. Ooh. And now she's sitting up there with her auntie, don't want to let me see her kids. Train of thoughts.
Yeah. That's exactly what this is.
In general, if you come to Los Angeles and you come here without a dream, without an idea, without something, you're really lost.
So you notice nobody takes the train in LA, everybody has a car. And the car is important, it's not just to get around, it helps you establish a credit history so that when you go to get a home loan, they can look at your credit history and say, hey, this guy bought a car, he's gonna pay off his house, approved. If you haven't, bought into the car culture, there's a good chance you're not gonna get the house.
No, we're not allowed to do anything. We can't eat here, we can't smoke here. No spitting and chewing gum. You're not allowed to take any skateboards around. No music, playing music. No rollerblading. Filming, well, this is LA in some way or the other. They're actually pretty happy if you film people because everybody wants to have their 5 minutes of fame. Look at me.
We're just getting lost in this section of the park. I see a lot of homeless people that hang out here, ask for the change, jumping trains.
Niggas fighting, niggas getting drunk, niggas getting down.
I've seen dudes passed out, bloody, you know, on a blue line train.
I just got out of jail, and I didn't have no money to get back home, you know? So as soon as I jumped over, you know how we just walk down here?
Yeah.
They got these things where I just jumped over. As soon as I jumped over, NYPD, come here.
Yeah.
You know, I just got out of jail, officer, you know, I don't have no money. You know? He's like, okay, give me ID. He wrote me a ticket, and he let me get on the train. That's not right.
Matter of fact, shout out to my grandma, Barbara Herbie, you know what I mean? I hope you out there watching this interview. I love you, Grammy, and then shout out to my sister, Destiny.
People go to the club, people go to the bar, and some people come to the train, I guess, and they just kick it. Like,
Down here.
It's a little, like, down party. I've seen people literally on the rails, yeah.
Oh, I've seen this so many times, especially women.
Yeah.
You know, who don't pay attention. They leave their bags, purses.
Okay.
And then people take it.
And then get twisted up, yeah.
They be celebrating too. Because to me, it's like, should I even get this bag and give it to the person who owns it?
Yeah.
Or should it be a lesson to that person? Don't leave your shit.
I'm a very friendly person. I like to be
social
and make friends inside the subway, just like it.
Yeah. Okay.
I like to use my time.
Okay.
I don't like to be like a robot.
Yeah, and just like with blinders and stuff like that.
I think we all, passengers, should all be friends to each other.
Sociable, right?
Trust each other a little bit more.
Okay.
Each line has its own little drama, you know what I mean? Like, just the Blue Line, you get the vocalist, you get the old soul, you know, Motown soul, concert.
Yeah, knows how to party.
I got game and I'm a spit flame, a spit back, whoa.
I kick back, always kick back.
Caught back, catching Vermont and Wilshire, bro.
I never stop, I'm clever hot.
I gotta take care of my son and take care of myself, bro. Never had my father or mother in this life, bro. But that's alright, I got Christ for soul.
My train of thought. Yeah. My train of thought.
I shall get paid. You wanna try to test my flows, and I got that faith. Haters wanna test me, I'ma like it. I'm on the train and spitting flow, and I'ma spit back low. I gotta break
down syntax, and I get packs of it. Put it on my back and go on the train and
spit it on dough. I stand tall like a soldier. I done told you, you can't mess with Jehovah. Ride like a witness, ride in the sober. Rhythm like the train, ride like the flame. In my range, I'm captain in this game. Down south, so the mean I'm right, but that's alright.
my train of thought. Thought. Yeah. My train of thought. Yeah. I was dope.
He said, come give me your sweetness lying in your heart.
it doesn't feel permanent. Does it feel permanent to you? Think about the Moscow station. It was built to last. And here, this town behaves constantly as if we are on a film set. And we also vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger. And why do we do it? Because we know him is the Terminator. He's gonna save us.
Dass man da so ein Hehl draus macht, wie man das so darstellt, hier mit diesen Palmen, diese tollen Lichter und so. Das sind Leute, die fahren alle zurück in so kleine verhackten Häuser, hast ja gesehen, diese komischen Dinger. Die meisten sind eh in so einem Unterbewusstsein, die trotten hier durch und nehmen das gar nicht wahr, weil denen das egal ist, wo die sind, wo sie sich bewegen. Und besonders in Hollywood hast du sowieso immer das Gefühl, kenne ich schon. Du kennst ja alle schon. Du denkst immer, du warst da schon. Und das hängt wiederum damit zusammen, dass eben diese ganze Stadt ein einzigartiges, riesiges Set ist. Also ein Bühnenbild. Dass dann das Bild, wie man da transportiert wird, wieder nur so eine Hollywood-Nummer ist. Das ist das, was ich nicht begreife.
Japanese trust Japanese. They know that they don't steal something, but when the foreigner comes, the country is totally changed, and now it's so many crime. Original Japan was so safe, and there was no locking of the house. In Japan, if you want to buy a car, you need to prove that you have the parking space. Also, the parking space is so expensive, especially in middle of Tokyo. Sometimes it's more expensive than the car. That's why the train transportation is very, very important. In the very early in the morning when it's really packed, they have the pushers to make the people inside the train so they can close the door at least. It sounds very ridiculous, but it's kind of polite because the people have to go to their office in time, but the trains, it doesn't have enough space and they need someone to push them in so at least they can reach the office in time. The reason why Japanese people is always on time is because the train is always on time. Everybody's like kind of nice and looks perfect, but inside it's different. Inside the house, or like, you know, when there's nobody's watching or nobody can see it, there's many things, strange things is going on. I think every train, at least one guy is touching some girl, like we call chikan. It was not so special. I think it's more difficult to never get sexual harassment in their life. Now it's changing, and there's a lot of news coming out that many chikan has been quoted because the girls are kind of starting to stop the chikan. It's kind of big social issue now because it depends on only the girl. If she said, this guy touched me, of course every time, even if he really did it, everybody's, you know, saying that I didn't do that. Critical things is that they're going to lose their job, and it's difficult to get a new job, so they kind of, you know, cannot have their normal life anymore. Still, there's so many girls that they don't talk about this sexual harassment because it's also shame or something.
今はあるんですけど、本当に忙しくなると朝方一回家に戻ってお風呂入ってまた行く感じになっちゃうので、もう電車のは本当に寝てるだけですね。たまに駅で待ってる5分とかで電車、始発だと乗り継ぎが悪かったりするので、ちょっとその間に駅で寝てなんか1本うっかり行っちゃってたり。
ああ、それもあります。なんかここまでダメかなと思ったりもします。30社ぐらいですかね。で、結婚はする気があるのかないのかとか、その彼氏がいたらいるって言えばいるって言ったで、じゃあすぐ結婚しちゃうんじゃないのとか、年とか言ってるので言われたりとか、じゃあいないって言ったらいないって言ったで、じゃあ結婚するつもりないから10年ぐらいは入れるねとか勝手に決められたりとか、そんなプライベートのところまで入るかどうかもわからない会社にいたくないじゃないですか。辞めてからは半年ぐらいへこみます。今相当ネガティブです。うちにこもっていくし、なんか沈むとこまで沈んだらもうあとは浮き上がるしかないじゃないですか。だから沈み切ろうってまず多分思っちゃうんですよね。だからもう相当ネガティブだし、好きなことを仕事にして一回失敗してるから保育なんだけど、あまりにも現実が厳しすぎて、その子供の状況だったりとか、虐待とか親のあまりの勝手さにちょっとがっかりしたっていう。で、保育園出てしまったらこの子たちはどうなるんだろうって、今はしこりになって残ってるようなところもあるし、
なんか勉強を教えるだけだとうまくいかない状況の子が多いというか、多少成績がすごい下だったり、悩みとかがあったりして、そういう中でやっていくには専門の心理学の勉強をしたりしないとついていけないなっていうのがあったの。捉える力がまだないというか、どういう風なことで悩んでいて、どこが辛くて、じゃあこうしてほしいという希望もないし、こうしたいという意思もなくて、なんとなくぼんやりと不安だとか、なんか、どうしようという聞き出すというよりは、ある程度言葉で出せるわけではないので、出してる体とかちょっとした世間話、趣味の話にしても、
We had this seppuku, which is suicide, but it's very beautiful way to die. Its story is about 200 years ago. It's for samurai. If you did something wrong, you always have to kill by yourself in front of everybody by using this sword, and you put it in your stomach and you do it by your hand, cut your body in 2 pieces. This is old story. There is no more samurai in Japan. If you are afraid of killing by yourself, you mean it's very ashamed of you. In Japan, there's a very high suicide rate, and the most popular way to suicide is jumping in a train, especially on Yamanote line. You know, many people who come in Tokyo, they left their parents in the countryside, so they don't even have the communication with the parents. They live by themselves. in a very small room, like 10 square meters, and it's still expensive. And you're taking this packed train, they feel like that nobody's care about him. So at least when they die on the Yamanote line, they will get big attention, and so many people will recognize that you are suicided and you changed many people's life. Maybe it's too many people in very small area, and we're getting less communication with the others, like packed trains full of the people, but actually nobody knows each other. I think the mental health will be weak when you live in this big city like this. And if it's too crowded, I think people will get suicide easily because it's a natural way, I think. If you die, people get more rooms actually. So it helps somebody else. But if you keep living, actually you are wasting of the space. If you die, everybody's happy. I have the kids, I have my wife, which makes from outside looks very happy, but somehow inside you're very lonely sometimes. Even if you are in front of your kids, you still feel lonely. It sounds very strange, but it's very difficult to explain. I don't know. I think many people are, even if they have other family, sometimes they are not confident that you really need it or not. Or sometimes you get very tired, or maybe too much pressures. When you decide if you're gonna really suicide or not, the Tokyo city has something to push you back. When you're very close to, do the suicide, it's really the last 1% you need to, somebody to push you back into this Yamanote line. I think because there's the pushers is there. It pushes you back always. Somehow, when you cannot decide to suicide or not, but this city will fix your mind to get suicide. Everybody at least thinking about suicide sometimes. I have thinking about suicide one time, but I didn't do it because I wanted to see the future. I also was interested about dying because you don't have to do anything anymore. It's finished, and you don't know what happens when you die anyway, so it's also another choice that you can have. If I really keep using this packed train every day, maybe I can decide that suicide is better somehow.
The Hong Kong MTR is a public company, and it's one of the few systems that make a profit. So it's very unique in the way that it works because it's about making money as well as providing service. They own a lot of shopping centers and a lot of housing developments that are built like right on top of the station. So for example, Han Fa Chun, that didn't used to be anything until the subway started going there.
I think now they are getting very aggressive. They want to do a lot of things in the city. But I think we have enough train already. And once there's train, and that area would become very boring. What I mean is like the chain stores and like McDonald's, like KFCs, like those big shopping malls would just move into that area, and it would become just as the same like in the other areas with train.
They are actually developing the MTR to our district, and I kind of dislike it because it kind of would kill the quietness of our district, and the price of the properties will raise hugely.
My first language is Cantonese, and I can speak it fluently. But the language I use most is English. English is like the express subway lines. Chinese is more like the local line where it's a lot slower but still works. I think that every system has a characteristic that represents the city. For New York, for example, 24-hour service, the city that never sleeps. Moscow, of course, with their beautiful stations. And I don't like to mention this, but Tokyo with their women's only car. Hong Kong, for example, the cross-platform interchange. That's like the mark of Hong Kong that no other system has. Everyone is running everywhere all the time.
我喺日本搭過，啲人係會比較有禮貌去讓你出去啊嗰啲啦。咁但係香港呢啲咁嘅繁忙，例如啊，喺日本搭地鐵，你係唔可以聽電話嘅。即係啲人係 send message， 即係電話唔可以響，你會騷擾到人，呢個係一個 rules 嚟嘅。但係喺香港唔係㗎嘛，即係你不斷響啊或者咩，即係都或者講嘢好大聲啊，或者傾電話好大聲啊咁。
諗下嚟緊做啲乜嘢，嚟緊一兩個鐘頭做啲乜嘢咁樣咯，好少話諗下自己啲嘢，冇乜時間。攰得就會喺度瞓覺咯，喺車度。總之有2個鐘頭咁循環咁樣。
Everything is going in a very fast pace, and people don't care what is happening besides them. I mean, even if there's someone gets some problem, no one would care. It's very individualist, but in a bad way.
I think that people are too isolated from other people, and you want to look at the people sitting across from you, but when they look back to you, you avoid their eyes. Hong Kong people do that. I don't know why. I feel sad about it.
I hope that society could be less money-minded. In Hong Kong, it's all about money. You could actually reflect that in how they develop the trains. A better city here is if people are not just taking money as the most important thing in their life.
I don't like MTR because they make the person in the underground without the exposure to the outside world, kind of. Yes, it's fast, it's efficient, but just don't like this way. It's like you are putting the machine to be a part of it. It's like this. Because it's so punctured, it's so well organized, so you lose the spontaneity. It can reflect the mentality of the citizen here, kind of. They pay a lot of attention to the efficiency, to the order. But in Europe, sometimes the train's like an antique. It's really, really old trains. I feel like they are more connected with the city itself. Like the train itself has stories, but in Hong Kong, it's more like a machine.
If you're underground, it gives you a strong sense of disorientation. You don't know the time, you don't know the space, where you are, and then not even which country you are. It can be anywhere. Overground, your thought follows what you see. But if you're in the train, you can have your time and you to decide what to think, but not decide by the surrounding.
Allora, signori, anche vi prego di essere attenti, alla metropolitana c'è gente diversa, tenete le borse vicino, d'accordo? Perché non tutti vengono a fare le visite della metropolitana, ma anche fanno le visite delle borse. Signori, venite qua, venite al centro, signori, avanti, avanti. Oh mamma mia. Oh mamma mia. Mamma mia, guarda, ci voleva prendere i biglietti prima. Signori, magari aspettate fuori perché fa un po'. Io prendo i biglietti poi vi richiamo, d'accordo? Si può già fotografare. Si può fotografare. Ok, bene, bene. Signori, spostatevi un pochino, lasciate passare la gente.
В принципе, метро мне нравится все, очень красиво, одно из самых красивых, в принципе, в мире метро.
Одно слово — величие. И ее никто уже лучше не сделает. Это мое, конечно, мнение моих приятелей.
Да, вроде так все нормально. Главное, что есть. Самое великолепное метро в мире. Все. Со всеми. Оно лучше.
Signori, io vorrei mostrarvi solo due cose. Ecco la prima linea costruita nel 1935, seconda linea e terza linea costruiti prima della seconda guerra mondiale, e dopo la seconda guerra hanno costruito la linea circolare e hanno cominciato a prolungare tutte le linee e costruire le nuove. Noi facciamo la stazione Komsomolskaya, Novoslobodskaya, Kievskaya circolare, poi cambiamo, passiamo alla linea blu scura e facciamo qualche fermata sulla linea blu scura e scendiamo alla stazione Oi, извините, pожалуйста. Ai. Signora, mi dispiace, partiamo subito. Adesso, signori, seguitemi, il resto vi racconto alle stazioni, ok? Bene, andiamo.
Собака на площади Революции, она, вроде говоря, даже удачу приносит, все пытается потрогать ее за мордочку.
Negli anni 30 si costruiva un nuovo Stato socialista e ci volevo provare a tutto il mondo che tutte le cose migliori sono nel nostro primo Stato, ma l'ideologia passa e la gente rimane. In ogni caso io devo dirvi che io sono molto riconoscente a queste ideologie degli anni 30 che mi permette di viaggiare e di vedere le cose belle invece di vedere dei corridoi con le pareti in plastico verde o rosso, non so, grigio.
То есть, когда у людей был такой подъем духовный, мне кажется, это было вложено вот в эти станции метро, чтобы запечатлеть ту величность и ту гордость, которая была у людей.
Мы обязательно считаем для себя необходимым, как откроют станцию, сразу проехать, посмотреть их все и похвастаться, что ты уже была. Но теперь уже так почти не делают.
Практически моя жизнь в метрополитене, то есть мы занимались строительством метро 15 лет. Поэтому, когда я проезжаю свои станции, я всегда смотрю и вспоминаю. И у меня название станции ассоциируется не с названием станции, которые для москвичей. Вам эти имена и фамилии ничего не скажут, и, вероятно, больше никто их и не услышит. А в памяти, когда попадаешь в метро, сразу вспоминается вот кусок жизни, который, он был прекрасен.
Conoscete la Piazza Rossa? Principe Požarski, capo dell'esercito. La torre di San Salvatore, il principe di Mosca, Dimitri. La cattedrale di San Basilio. Rivoluzione, signori. Lenin, signori. Lenin. È una bella foto da fare dietro, ecco, tutti questi soldati. Fatto. Bravi. Buon viaggio. Si sono attaccati dalla mamma. 18 anni, giovani. 18 anni.
Когда, например, не знаю, когда вот если там закрывают, да, то это для них проблема бывает там ночью или что-то в этом роде. Правда, я знаю, она наверное не говорит это, что...
Вот, были там теракты какие-то, были проблемы какие-то, но вот ни разу не довелось ни гулять по тоннелю, ни там стоять значительное время, минут 10, может, где-то было, конечно, всего не бывает, но не более того.
Во время войны Москву бомбить, нас маму уводила туда. Попадали мы в такие помещения еще, которые были не построены, но все-таки нас мама там укладывала спать. А ночью, когда заканчивалась тревога, мы выходили и видели Москву темную.
это чувствуется изменение даже в последние там, 2-3 года. Категория людей, которые находятся в метро, она меняется. Я не говорю, что там и нищие или бедные есть. Нет, я не хотела сказать. Но вот это две большие разницы, кто ездит наверху и кто ездит внизу.
Сказал. В общем-то, москвичи проводят в метро, ну, не очень богатые москвичи, достаточно большую часть своей жизни, поэтому для нас это как, видим, не только, что это красивое место, но и жизненно необходимое. Это такая же часть нашей жизни, большая часть нашей жизни, чем магазины, чем, там, я не знаю, кинотеатры, чем что угодно. Это...
Мечтаю, грущу, переживаю какие-то свои эмоции. Сейчас вот у меня трудное время, метро меня выручает, когда я еду, я отвлекаюсь на людей, на рекламу, на станции, на вот эту схему нашу очень интересную. Они все разные, и у каждого своя история. Когда их встретят счастливые глаза. В метро люди встречаются, грустят, плачут, добираются, преодолевают расстояние, встречают любовь, ссорятся. Такое скопление информации и энергии невероятное. В день проходят миллионы, ну, наверное, миллионы людей.
Несмотря на то, что в час пик метро ходит вообще каждые 45 секунд, вагоны все равно переполнены. Но машины нет, машины не альтернатива. Вот, например, один и тот же маршрут, который ты на метро достигаешь с точностью в 5 минут, да, на машине это будет с точностью в 3,5 часа. А еще пробки могут возникнуть, когда вот перекрывают дороги, да, вот, например, едет президент, да. Мы, москвичи, мы с раннего детства мы любим и уважаем наше метро.
Adesso, signori, potete viaggiare da soli alle metropolitane, peccato perché domani voi partite, se no...
C'è la possibilità di comprare le magliette CCPP, quelle...
Certo, dappertutto,
i
dappertutto.
Ci dici tutto?
Come no, sì.